Hi, I'm Willie Howe. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing and also hit that little bell notification icon down there so you will know when we release new content. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you. Once again, if this is your first time being here, we do tips, tricks, and tutorials on how to configure your networking, and whether it's wired or wireless, and your security equipment, voice over IP, all those awesome things. So thank you again to everyone for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And what we are going to look at tonight is this Linksys switch, and Linksys did send this over to me. This is the Linksys LGS308MP. So we're going to get this guy out of the box. Few things that I want to tell you about the switch real quick. It does have 130 watts of total PoE, and it does PoE+. It does QoS, it has port security, and it has a lifetime warranty. The MSRP that I'm seeing out there, I just saw it on Amazon before I started filming this, was $199.99. So you'll have to be the judge of whether this switch has the value. So what we're going to do, we're going to unbox it, then we're going to take it over to the computer, we're going to plug it in, get into the interface, and see what it is all about. All right, we got a single camera view tonight. Here it is. Here is our Linksys. Once again, this is the LGS308MP. It is a gigabit switch. So in the box, we have a CD that has documentation for the entire switch line. We have our quick start propaganda. We are going to need this, so we're going to want to hang on to this. Tells us exactly everything we need to do to get this up and going. Then what we have is we have the switch itself, and it is tiny. So it is I don't know if you can see this. Linksys there. And all right, so on the back you've got a power adapter. On the bottom we've got these big plastic feet, and then we have our the places where we can mount this to the wall. It is vented on the side. It's got a Kensington lock right here. Got all of our switch ports on the front. Over here we do have the old trusty dusty reset button. If you're familiar with any of these kind of devices, most of them have a okay, there's a PoE Max light, and then that other one is the system light vented on that side. There is the Kensington lock. So overall, not a bad looking little switch. If you want something for a size reference, I don't have a banana, but I do have a laptop hard drive, and you can see that's what it looks like right there. So that's the switch. You get that beautiful piece of equipment, and then standard power adapter. Get some mounting screws. And then the rest of the power adapter. So let's go hop over to. All right, so a couple of things before we get too far into it. If you have your quick start guide, it is going to show you what all of the LEDs mean. So this is actually the most comprehensive LED guide to a piece of hardware that I've seen come with a switch. So the flashing means that it can't get an IP, but it's booted. The other one that I thought was interesting is that if you have the PoE switch, if you get the Amber Max PoE light, that means you're using 85% of the total PoE budget, which I thought was fantastic. Now, one other thing, two things actually. First of all, we're going to put a static IP address on our computer, and we are going to get to this at 192.168.1.251 because I do not have it plugged into the rest of the network. So I will just show you that I put 192.168.1.2 on my machine. We'll get in. Then the other thing that I want to let you know of is my only complaint about this switch, and I'm complaining about it up front, is this barrel connector and all of the power adapter that goes with it. Now, I understand this is a 130 watt PoE budget, so you have to have, you know, a power supply that can push that. I don't know how I feel in production about this, but we're going to give it a shot. Now, I think that the Switch probably has enough features to make up for that, such as lifetime warranty on the Switch if you're in the US, lifetime warranty, firmware updates, all that stuff, and a sub $200 price on this Switch. So let's go ahead and configure that IP address, and I'll just show you where that's at in case you are not familiar with that. And you can see I've got 192.168.1.2 in there. And so we're going to go over here to the switch. The default username and password are admin. And so here we are. We got a system summary, and you can see I've been in here. This is the third time, actually fourth time that I have filmed this part of the video tonight. I had some audio issues and the furnace keeps kicking on and off. So anyway, fourth time is a charm. So some of these things are already set. Some of you who are watching me put that password in will know that it is not password. No, I have changed that, and so I have done this video literally 4 times. But so the host name of my switch is WH Linksys Lab Switch. Down here we get this really nice graphic representation of the switch, and if we click on a port, it comes up and allows us to configure the port. So we can configure administrative mode. Is it a protected port? You know, what's our speed and duplex, things like that. And we can also put a description in there. Interface statistics. Got your ARM over here. Over here, this support link will actually take you out to the Linksys small business support. We don't want to do that. Under maintenance, we can do a reboot, and we can also restore to factory defaults. You've got your file management, and these menus, this is where you actually upgrade the firmware and the boot code. This shows us our active, so we can upload. Apparently this will let you have multiple images, which is great. So you can you know, boot between multiple images, which is fantastic. Configuration, we can upload and download the configuration here. Excuse me. And then here we can create a backup config file. So that's one that if it hits the fan, we can always fail back to a safe configuration. That's how I use the backup config file. And you can see we can copy from running to backup. We can, or from running to startup, running to backup. We can go from running to startup, backup to startup. We can go in between all those different versions, which is fantastic. We've got some basic diagnostics. All these switches that have these copper tests, these copper tests, they're basic. They're probably really not going to help you, just to be honest. We got our ping, our trace route, and we can do port mirroring. So if you need to hook up old Wireshark and figure something out, there it is. Quick Start's going to have some wizards, and I am not going to run those. We're just going to run through this configuration menu real quick. All right. So system information, this is where we can set the location, the contact, and the name. You can pull this information through SNMP and is likely also advertised via LLDP. Management session timeout, default is 10 minutes, and it works. Trust me, been running into that. We can set an NTP server here and then manage the system time with that, which is something you always want to do, especially you know, when it comes to logs and things like that. Here's SNMP. The switch does support SNMP versions 1, 2, and 3. We can send all of our logs off to a remote log server. Fantastic. That information's here. Here's log management. Here's the RAM log. So this is stuff that's logged into RAM. Flash memory log. So that's stuff that is written to the flash memory. Port management. We can come in here, we can enable jumbo frames. I can also edit a port, and this is that exact same screen that you saw earlier. We can do lags. We can do up to 4 different lags. So if you were doing 4 lags, you would have 2 ports in each because it's an 8-port switch. Green Ethernet, this is your power saving stuff. I have it disabled right now, but I will tell you, even with it enabled, I'm seeing the same 66% power savings, likely because I don't have this thing loaded down. We can come in here per port and we can turn that power management on and off, but I do have it disabled up here, which I'm assuming is system-wide. Then under PoE, under the feature configuration, I'm going to actually plug in a device. There's going to be a full video unboxing and configuration of this, but this is a CN Pilot E600 excuse me, by Cambium. Fantastic access points. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Now, the first time you plug in a PoE device to the switch, don't be alarmed if the link light doesn't come on. I did notice it takes a few seconds longer for the PoE light to come on this switch than most of the switches that I'm used to. But just be patient, and it, somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds, it'll kick on unless you get a cabling problem. All right, then we can come in here and we can look, and you can see we are consuming 3,600 milliwatts. So 4 watts, between 3 and 4 watts for this access point. We've still got 126 watts out of our 130 watts available. And you can come in here and you can mess around with all of the different PoE options. We've got LLDP media. So you can come in here and configure all of this. If we had neighbors, we could click on the neighbor information and see those. Here's the local information that the neighbor's going to see from us, and we can, there's a lot of information here. A lot of information. All right, so VLANs, you're going to see here, I'm going to delete these other VLANs real quick and just show you how easy it was to create these VLANs. It's got this default VLAN after reboot feature, which I thought was neat. I'm still trying to come up with a practical application for it. Maybe if you're doing like a mass configuration and you need to change those, you make your configuration changes, you reboot, and the VLAN changes. Not 100% sure on that. And here I'm going to click Add. We can add a single VLAN or we can add a range. So I'm just going to add 3. Call phone. It's been added. Come down here to the interfaces, and I can edit individual interfaces, and I can make it an access port, a trunk port, a general port, port VLAN ID. I can change that there. I can also click Join VLAN. There's our VLAN we created, and VLAN 3 is tagged. That's what the T stands for, tagged. 1, U is untagged, and P is port VLAN ID. Apply that, and now those VLAN settings are set for port number 5. VLAN memberships, we can come in here and we can do basically the exact same thing that we just did there, but we can do it across multiple ports for this VLAN. So we can come in here, hit search, and then individually set these options. VLAN groups based on MAC address. We've got voice VLAN, so we can come in here, we can add our partial MAC for maybe our Grandstream phones. We can tell it what the voice VLAN is, and so it's going to configure that automatically via LLDP. It's got STP, RSTP, MSTP, so you can spanning tree all the things. No Ethernet loops in this network, buddy. MAC address management, we can do dynamic. It shows you all the dynamic MAC addresses, static MAC addresses, reserved MAC addresses. It has a SCAD of multicast features. And not only does it work on IP version 4, but it works on IP version 6. So you can come in here. This has so many multicast options. It's unbelievable. So I'm not even going to go through all of them. If you have this switch and you need multicast, definitely make sure that you look through these features. IP interface. management VLAN by default is VLAN 1, and I don't think it's going to let me change that. We've got the switch set for DHCP, but it can't find a DHCP server, so it is falling back on that 192.168.1.251. We could set a static here. This is kind of neat that it lets you put in the full mask or prefix length, and always make sure you fill in your default gateway. Here is the ARP for that interface, and then here is IP version 6. Do y'all want an IP version 6 primer? Something quick and dirty? If you do, let me know in the comments down below. We've got the DNS. We set DNS here, DHCP snooping. So we can enable that. We can then lock it down to where this switch will only let, certain IP addresses hand out DHCP on the network. It's beautiful, beautiful thing when it works, and you should be using it. Under security, this is where we can change and add usernames and passwords that can access the switch. By default, Telnet's enabled. I did disable that. I should also disable HTTP. Everything should be done over HTTPS with this switch. The access authentication. So what's nice is as you get into these devices that give you more configuration options and have more of an enterprise feature set, is you can have all of your administrative users actually come from a Radius server, so you don't have to configure them locally on each device. So if you have an admin leave or you need to add an admin, you do it one place, Radius server, and you're done. It does have NAC here, so we can do port-based authentication via Radius, and we also have a guest VLAN, and that is absolutely awesome. We are going to configure that, and we are going to show that. We're going to show that off. We can do 802.1x authentication, and it'll show us our authenticated host. It has port security, so if you're familiar with some other manufacturers, we can put this limited dynamic lock on. We can say we want to see a maximum of 3 MAC addresses come across this interface. So it's going to dynamically learn the first 3 MAC addresses that come across that port. Anything after that, we're going to do something. We're going to discard, we're going to forward, or we're going to shut down. So you can physically shut the port down if you see more than X amount of MAC addresses. It's beautiful. We've got storm control. We've got ACLs, and we can do ACLs, access control lists, based on MAC, IP version 4, IP version 6, and then we can bind those ACLs to ports or lags. That is fantastic. It has got a SCAD of quality of service information. So by default, we've got basic QoS. Here's our queue scheduling, class of service, 802.1p to Q here. DSCP, most of the time when we are doing voice over IP, we are going to use DSCP markings, so we want switches and routers to be able to understand those DSCP markings so that they handle that voice traffic appropriately. We can do bandwidth control per port, so we can come in here, we can edit this. We can let GE1, Gigabit Ethernet 1, we can let it auto-negotiate to gigabit, so the physical connection is gigabit, but then we can say the ingress and egress is limited to this many kilobits per second. That's awesome. We've got egress shaping, we've got the basic QoS, and then we've got our QoS statistics down here. So I'm super excited about this switch. You get, in a very, very small package, you get 130 watts of PoE, you get this huge feature set with this great user interface, you get a lifetime warranty, and you're talking sub 200. So I will leave a link to this switch down below, so if you want to check it out yourself. So if you need a PoE switch, I'm thinking that, 130 watts, you may not use all that. People don't realize, but this access point right here is only using 4 watts. So I could put, what's 7 times 4? 28, right? 7 times 4. And I could have 7 of these, and I'm only going to be chewing up without much other configuration. So out of the box, I'm only going to be chewing up 28 watts out of that 130. So 130 watts of PoE with a lifetime warranty goes a lot further than you think it does. Alright, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, please comment and share, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you need IT consulting, go to williehowe.com, fill out that contact form, and somebody will be with you as soon as possible. If we can't help you, we'll get you to a vendor who can. That's our promise to you. If you'd like to talk to us on Discord, the link is down below. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a patron on Patreon, that link is also down below, and I want to thank all of those people. If you want to buy any of the gear that you see here on the channel, my Amazon links are down below. They don't change your price, but they do kick a couple of bucks over to the channel. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.